Salute, salute, man. Salute to the internal, indigenous, spiritual most high. Y'all know how I get down. Trolls only God and your mama can love you. And last but not least, y'all know, man. One time. Yeah. You looking at the man who put the one time on the map. You know what I'm saying? Now, y'all know I got to remember my fallen brother, man. So in remembrance of, you know, my co-host, the real star of the show, the personality behind the show, Jimmy McNair. Here we go, here we go. Where's me gold? I need me shillings so I can troll. And troll I'm about to. Now we saw young brother Carmelo face a jury of his non-peers yesterday and was sentenced to 35 years. And some things started circulating on social media, and you know me, things grab my attention. I gravitate towards it, especially if it's controversial and historical, y'all. And you'll never guess what I found. Watch this, ladies and gentlemen. Fair use, educational purposes.
On the 1st of December 1955, Rosa Parks refused to obey an order to give up her seat on a bus in Montgomery to a white person. She had in mind a murder trial that happened 2 months earlier in Sumner, Mississippi. A 14-year-old boy, Emmit Till, had been brutally tortured and murdered. His body was thrown into the Tallahatchie River, but despite clear evidence that two white men committed the murder, an all-white jury returned a not guilty verdict after just an hour of deliberation.
Stop! Do I need to replay that again, ladies and gentlemen? Did we miss the part about despite, they had the evidence that two white men did it? These white men didn't go in front of a whole jury of black men. This is white, two white people unaliving a 14-year-old black kid, as they still do in this country. And they get to face an all white jury. And they only deliberated for 1 hour. This all white jury for Karmelo, in which he shouldn't have had, just like these two white guys shouldn't have had an all white jury, but they did. The jury for Karmelo Anthony only deliberated for 3 hours. So the same way this all white jury already had their minds made up to acquit these two white perpetrators, aggressors, racists for doing what they did to 14-year-old Emmett Till, those same racists yesterday who sat in that courtroom and sentenced this young man to 35 years already had it in their head. Already had it in their heads what they were going to do. They gave us 3 hours. They had already had their mind made up. All white jury here, two white people get acquitted. And they knew they were guilty. And white supremacy fixed it to where they can get off with the all white jury. All right. You fast forward to now. Young brother has to defend himself, self-defense against a white bully. And now this young brother faces a all white jury. And they pretty much throw the book at him. 35 years. Do y'all see it? Let's revisit this again. Let's revisit this one more time.
On the 1st of December 1955, Rosa Parks refused to obey an order to give up her seat on a bus in Montgomery to a white person. She had in mind a murder.
To a who person? A white person? Now, y'all going to say, well, he had the right to face a jury of his peers. That's exactly my damn point. So if these white men faced an all-white jury, which would be considered a jury of his peers constitutionally, although they still require some minorities, so maybe they found some white people with tans and they found some Irish people who was pale and needed some sun. I don't know. I don't know how they worked it up, but they worked it. So the same way that these two perpetrators who were definitely guilty of this immoral act, this nefarious act, y'all, Carmelo Anthony also deserved to face a jury of his peers, ladies and gentlemen. You racists are going to say, well, the Constitution said that he's supposed to face a jury of his. You're right. These two right here face a jury of their peers. Guess who didn't? These two got acquitted and they were guilty as hell. Guess who was just defending themselves and got convicted?
murder trial that happened 2 months earlier in Sumner, Mississippi. A 14-year-old boy, Emmit Till, had been brutally tortured and murdered. His body was thrown into the Tallahatchie River, but despite clear evidence that two white men committed the murder, an all-white jury returned a not guilty verdict after just an hour of deliberation. Rosa Parks wrote, "The news of
There it is, y'all.
Emmett's death caused me to participate in the cry for justice and equal rights."
And we're still crying for justice and still crying for equal rights. But there you go. I'm going to expose it, y'all. This is what they do. This isn't the first time they've done it. It won't be the last time they do it. When it's someone white, they do it to stack the deck. These people get acquitted. When it's someone black, they do it to stack the deck and we get convicted. Tell me what you think. Ashe.